Hi Virgos, here with you tonight. I'm really just going to be doing these readings when I can, so sometimes it's going to be late and I'm going to be kind of tired and stuff, but I think, we come to the readings when we can, and that's, sometimes a little bit more of a tired energy might actually, tune you in more than if you were feeling a little bit more up. So this is going to be a reading for Virgo. It's like a little after midnight, July 5th, right now. The moon is still in Taurus, so shared earth energy with Virgo. Cancer season. Virgo is the mutable earth associated with the digestive tract, GI system, except for the stomach, which is actually associated with Cancer. So Virgo and Cancer actually, there are certainly many differences, but similarities and indifference, complementarity, but both kind of together do make up the digestive system, so that's nice. Trying to tie in kind of the sign of today with kind of the moon and the sun of that day. So this is going to be a reading for Virgo, the mutable earth. Celtic cross readings. I'll just kind of start with what we got here. So 1, 2. Straighten out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4. And I'll try to just kind of get quicker into the, reading sometimes too. But try to give a little bit of background and kind of tie it into what's possibly going on, that day a little bit from the astrological side as well. So for Virgo, I really like the Celtic cross readings because it gives you a really specific framing about what's going on. Otherwise, you can just end up pulling cards and getting lost in the interpretation of it. It is, I'm not much of a planner, but it is, good to have a plan. It's funny that kind of comes up during the Virgo reading because as a Gemini sun, it's the other side of Mercury, in addition to Virgo kind of. Virgo does the details and Gemini does more broad strokes of things, but they're both about communicating and cognition and thinking, and so Gemini and Virgo is sister signs in sort of a different kind of way, both in the mutable energy and stuff, which actually means that Gemini and Virgo are square to each other, but a square or harsh aspect doesn't necessarily, again, not necessarily a bad or a negative thing. It just means that growth and work needs to go into it to create growth, but if that work is done, then you can get some really tremendous growth. So Virgo, right now in the present moment, you are feeling Page of Cups energy, which is nice because I'm getting a lot of water energy for kind of all the signs right now, and we are in Cancer season, which kind of harkens in the sign of the season of water. So the Page of Cups is sort of a youthful energy moving forward, with new creative ideas. Can be with love and relationships, but it can also kind of just be feeling this youthful energy to move forward with, creative ideas, relationships, youthful water energy. In Cancer season, it's also kind of associated with childhood. So this is a nice, pure sort of youthful. It's not the Cancer card or the Cancer cards, but certainly, moving forward with this youthful energy towards new creative ideas. The challenge right now is the Three of Pentacles, which is usually about kind of collaboration, especially around sort of resources in your workspace or just collaborating on ideas. So the collaboration right now could be, and it's interesting, this is sort of coming up in other readings as well, collaboration is very important. It's really important to give to your community and the people around you, but sometimes, there can be things that you need to learn from that experience, and sometimes that can be sort of a time to also step back from collaboration if that's not necessarily what's, you might have to go a little more inwards. It could be something like that going on. And that sort of reminds me of the Hermit card for Virgo, which is kind of taking spiritual time. So we'll just see what this Three of Pentacles means. But in the challenge is sort of like the idea of collaboration. And in the present energy, you're wanting to move forward with creative ideas. So we'll see what more that could mean. In the past, you were recently coming at like the Seven of Swords, which can be, I maybe need to come up with, develop a more mature understanding of the Seven of Swords, but this is often seen as sort of like betrayal or trying to get away with something. So maybe in the past, some sort of manipulative energy, or this energy of trying to kind of like get away with things. And some sense of betrayal. Usually it can be like self-betrayal in the reverse, but in the upright, either you maybe did something that was a betrayal, or a betrayal happened to you, and so maybe moving towards new ideas there, or creative opportunities maybe that stemmed from sort of that experience. And in the future, you have the Hanged Man, a major arcana card, and this is sort of about seeing new perspectives on things. So maybe in the past, either you betrayed something, an idea or someone's that happened to you, and now you're moving with new creative ideas so that you can gain new perspectives. And this is, major arcana cards are really like the universe, like being like, these are major moments in your life. They're not sort of the day-to-day with minor arcana. This is sort of like new perspectives, but also kind of just like sort of like waiting and like seeing what happens next. It can be sort of about like letting go, but really like seeing new perspectives, and you're moving forward with this, idea about, new creative endeavors and things. In the upright, in the conscious energy above is the Queen of Wands in the reverse. So this is fire energy with the wands. The Queen of Wands in the upright is usually like very confident and abundant and passionate and socializing, and kind of like the life of the party. In the reverse, the Queen of Wands can sort of be like taking time for yourself, because you like really are this maybe vibrant energy, but maybe you're taking some of that vibrancy and like working on yourself or things closer to home, and not as much being like as social as that you usually are. Virgo is the servant, and most Virgos I know are very sociable, and so maybe this is just kind of like, doesn't mean you're not being sociable, it just means kind of like taking the time to step back from that role where you are always kind of like the life of the party with people and trying to bring everyone together, and this is sort of a card that kind of reminds us that like it's okay to take that time if you need it. And interesting that it kind of matches up with the challenge being the Three of Pentacles, like maybe just like collaboration is a great thing, but it's not necessarily always the answer every moment of every time in our lives. And in the subconscious is the Eight of Cups in the reverse. So maybe wanting to see if you can give something another shot, one more chance. Usually in the upright, this card is about sort of like walking away from something, a person, an idea, and in the reverse, it can really kind of be about like rethinking about that process, and not necessarily maybe like reevaluating, walking away from something, not necessarily sure what you should do in that, but maybe like thinking that you should give something kind of one more shot. And could be around love with the cups there, but some sort of creative opportunity, it could mean that too. Maybe giving something one more shot that hasn't necessarily felt like it has, that you want to give one more shot, essentially. So that's in the subconscious energy, and maybe like taking this time for yourself is helping you evaluate that situation. Your advice is the Knight of Pentacles in the reverse. So the Knight of Pentacles in the upright, again, this is earth energy, which is, very much Virgo energy. We have a Taurus moon right now, so we just have I'm sorry, it's a Virgo reading and it's a Taurus moon, and so just earth energy going on today and right now. The Knight of Pentacles in the reverse. I do look up some cards sometimes when I really don't have as good of an understanding, but really like it's usually like a brash energy, but like something to do with your resources. So your advice. Self-discipline, boredom, feeling stuck in perfectionism, and I should know that by now. So self-discipline, boredom, feeling stuck in perfectionism. So maybe like it's a good time to like be working on your self-discipline and like remembering it's okay to be like a little bit bored and stuck, and a reminder about sort of like that natural Virgo tendency towards perfectionism. And it's interesting, with the Queen of Wands in the reverse as well. Sort of like the advice is like maybe right now is just like a good time to kind of be feeling stuck, so that you can have this time to like reevaluate some situation and see if you want to give something one last try, and kind of like working on that self-discipline, which your Virgos kind of already do, so you have to try to make sure that you're not making it a punishment, but kind of being used to like getting, it's okay to sometimes have that stuck energy, and maybe this is a time to like be reevaluating your relationship to your high sense of perfectionism, which I do think is something that Virgos can struggle with a lot and cause themselves more pain than they need to, because every Virgo I know is generally, a really wonderful, vibrant person, and I wish that they could be a little bit easier on themselves. And that's good for you, and it's good for everybody else too. The energy surrounding you right now is really beautiful. It's what I'm thinking of with reading these cards is really kind of the Virgo card, the Hermit. And here in the energy surrounding you is the Hermit, which is your card, which is really following the spiritual path, not necessarily taking too much time for yourself, like in a way where you're like isolating, but like taking time for yourself. And that challenge, the Queen of Wands in the reverse in the above energy, what people are seeing is needing to take that time for yourself. The challenge is collaboration, because sometimes, we do need to take a break from things, and in reevaluating an idea, moving forward towards new creative ideas, getting new perspectives, it can be really helpful to take this kind of Hermit energy, follow the light, follow the path. If you have a certain path that you're taking right now, sometimes you need to, doesn't mean be alone in that, but it will probably feel a little bit lonely than some other times when you have been kind of more celebratory with, other people in a more obvious way. But this is you, so like the energy surrounding you is your energy, which is really beautiful, because it means like you are being, I think kind of divinely guided to keep doing you, and sometimes take that time with the Hermit energy. Hopes and fears is this abundance. So 10 of Pentacles. The 10 of Pentacles is like really wanting, this full, happy home, happy community, enough resources, so that you can, have, all these happy people in this beautiful farm, and animals, and just be surrounded by utmost abundance with the 10 of Pentacles. So that can be like a hope and a fear, because, I think it's what so many of us want, but also kind of in a way that it could be, if whatever we want can always be its own fear as well. So, maybe reevaluating a relationship to what this means, but like this is sort of what you're wanting to go towards, and it makes sense. And the Pentacles is the Earth, Virgo, Taurus moon right now, but your energy Virgo, and so moving forward towards sort of what you want can be scary, because it could be possible that you don't necessarily get the 10 of Pentacles, and so. But this is kind of, both the hopes and the fears of what you're working on. So thinking about your resources a lot is important to you. And that makes a lot of sense just for kind of like Virgo energy. And what's going on, the outcome of all this, if the kind of nothing else were to be done at this point, is the King of Swords in the reverse. So the King of Swords in the upright is... the swords are the air, so it's very Mercury in energy, which is Virgo and Gemini again. The King of Swords is in the upright, can really be sort of like taking this, kingly masculine type energy and moving forward in a way that you are expressing your ideas clearly. You are communicating in a very sort of mature way. In the reverse, there can be something a little more biting. So when I see Queen of Swords in the reverse, it's kind of like, you know, sort of like not necessarily being like cutting. With this, I feel like it's more like control, sometimes differentiating between the different suits. And I am, you know, learning. I've definitely been over the cards a lot of times, but like sometimes I need to look at another one during a read. So quiet power, inner truth, a misuse of power into manipulation. So this quiet power, seeking an inner truth, is very much related to the rest of the energy that you have going on here. Taking that time with, you know, the Virgo Hermit card energy. But you can also be misusing your power and manipulating or having that used against you. In the past, there's some sort of like a sense of betrayal. You're really moving towards like new creative ideas and wanting to see things in a new perspective, but I think you need to be focusing on your inner truth right now more than anything else. About misuse of power and manipulation, like, I don't know if that's something that resonates for you, something that's happening, someone doing that to you or you doing that to someone else. It can be good to think about. You know, we always want to make sure that we're standing in like our responsible power, but I think this could just kind of be like working on like what your inner truth is in the moment. And I think, you know, there are personal truths, and then there's critical epistemology, which kind of like some truths are higher than other truths, but this is like working on a quiet inner truth instead of necessarily being the one to like, you know, that Mercury energy that is teaching and educating necessarily all the time. This can kind of be like working on a new perspective, new creative ideas, and ideas of love. And as I've been saying in recent readings, you know, giving that love to yourself, which I just think is also really big Cancer energy in general, which is the season. So it's okay to not always be like out in the crowd. You know, Virgo is the servant, always serving the people who they love, and they really do get that love back in return. I hope they feel that. But that is kind of what Virgos do, and it's sometimes okay to take the time for yourself, because sometimes that's just what you need to center that energy more on the inside, because what you give to your inside, the people, you know, around you also benefit from that. And I think that's coming up in a lot of the readings too. When you give love and forgiveness and unconditional positive regard and the benefit of the doubt to yourself, then you can do that for other people as well. So working on kind of quiet inner truth. And you have the Queen of Wands and, you know, and the King of Wands in the reverse. So giving to the self. I don't necessarily see this as like the perpetrating like negative energy. I am always looking for, you know, the messages that will be like most helpful, and I hope also not anything that's going to bring people like down too much, because I wouldn't do well with those kinds of readings. So I think this is more about giving to the self than anything else, and it's not necessarily problematic to have cards in the reverse. It can mean to give to the self and not necessarily just something that is negative. And so working on this quiet inner truth, new creative ideas towards gaining new perspectives, and, you know, getting in that, you know, Virgo like hermit energy to take that spiritual path. Sometimes the spiritual path can feel a little bit lonely, and then you know, life always ebbs and flows. So moving on, we'll get a couple color cards here for Virgo. Interested to see what pops out. Color cards here for Virgo. Any color cards here for Virgo that could help frame this possible inner journey? Any color cards here for Virgo? Okay, so Virgo's the 6th sign, so nothing's popping out, so I'll just go for 3. 1, 2, 6th sign, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 3. So this is nice. So comfort, surrender, and consciousness. I have not seen these 3. This is a new deck for me. Comfort, surrender, and consciousness. And I think this is really lovely for Virgo energy with what's going on right here, because I think Virgos are always really like feeling the sense of perfectionism around everything, and sometimes, you know, we can't be perfect, so you just have to do what you can do, and in getting there, sorry, and in getting there, kind of surrendering to your comfort, like not always trying to be perfect all the time, can be, you know, really helpful, and just kind of getting into this hermit energy on the spiritual path, moving towards consciousness and getting, you know, tapped into like Mother Earth. So comfort, you know, that's, you know, Mother Earth. Taurus is the moon is an exaltation in Taurus, which is where the moon is right now. Earth energy is just always very similar. Earth signs usually do kind of get along with each other. And, you know, so do all signs of like a similar, you know, element. Red. Pink, pink, pink. So comfort. When comfort comes up in a reading, it signals that you may need to invite some more self-care and comfort into your life. A great way to do this is through nourishing your spirit or higher self. This can be something as simple as cleaning out your home, very good for Virgos, cleaning and rearranging your space, very good for Virgos, in order to invite in clear and comforting energy. It can also mean taking the time to prepare yourself a meal that your body has been craving, associated with the, you know, it's really the digestive system, Virgo. In partnership with Cancer, which is the stomach. Whatever it is, do it with ease and give your nervous system the gentle break that it needs. So this is really beautiful because the nervous system is Gemini, but it's also Virgo, because Virgo, the GI system has its own nervous system, really, which is really amazing to me. So you need to give your nervous system a break. So the Virgo GI system, associated with Mercury, cognition, and, you know, new ideas and things. It's really important for Virgos to remember that it's important to give yourself that comfort, and that's what I'm seeing here from seeking your own inner truth, seeing new perspectives, and, you know, thinking about this sense of, you know, perfectionism, like thinking about your perfectionism and your discipline, and if it's something you need to do more of, that's great. But usually with a Virgo, I feel like sometimes you can actually take a break from what you're doing, give yourself a break and the benefit of the doubt, like you do other people. I'm really standing in this hermit energy, which is the Virgo card. So give yourself that comforting energy, big, 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 which I think is always a Virgo, you know, reminder. But okay, so these are nice. So consciousness is our ability to feel and sense what is around us and within us, and to tap into a deeper universal connection. Allow yourself to go beyond yourself and your ego. Tune into this consciousness deeply as you move forward on your journey. Can't really see that great. Blinding, but it says consciousness. Can you see it at all? Consciousness. So really taking this Virgo energy and, you know, going towards that idea of consciousness, and really like that sense of self-perfectionism can often be like our unhealthy ego. So it's kind of like helping to drop that actually gets you further along on that spiritual journey. And surrendering. So by ceasing to resist, surrendering. So beautiful. Oh my gosh, I always love when this stuff comes together. So surrender. And then in the future, you have the Hanged Man, which is really kind of like surrendering and letting go and getting new perspectives and stuff. So this really fits with kind of the future. By ceasing to resist, you can create peace for yourself. The act can be uncomfortable at first because it hurts the ego. But when we surrender and let go, we free the parts of ourselves that work so hard to fight. Now that you are free, what can you do? What new pathways can you go down? And this is all about your present energy. What new paths can you go down? New energy of, you know, the Page of Cups, having new creative ideas or moving forward new ideas of love, but this can also just be like moving forward with creative opportunities. So comfort, consciousness, and surrender. So just keep it moving and work, and, you know, that sense of perfectionism can it's such a beautiful gift that Virgos have, but it can also, our high vibes can turn into our low vibes, and similarly, and that can hurt us and the people who are around us. So whatever that means for you right now. I'm gonna draw some tea leaf cards. Oh, already at 24 minutes. That one wanted to come out. This is really too many cards. I'm gonna put that back. I'm just gonna take a look and see on top. Tea leaf cards. And maybe 2 more. Okay, this one wanted to come out. And this one. These. That's enough. These are just some flipped. So, happiness. I think happiness always surrounds Virgos. It surrounds the people who they're surrounded by because they help make them happy like that. Temptation will test you. There can be temptation around all kinds of things. Do not back down from opposition, so show strength and fortitude. And this is just Taurus energy right now. Showing strength and fortitude can also, that can be hard when we're putting that inwards for ourselves. When something that we're not used to. So if you need to take the time for yourself to work on yourself and to have new ideas about things, then you can take that. A stubborn, aggressive person, someone you're dealing with, or some of your energy, but it's not really what I'm getting here. It's just kind of could be something that you're dealing with though. Maybe that's who you need to not back down from, if that's any energy that you're dealing with. Good fortune, which I also think always surrounds Virgo, especially when you're on a spiritual path and that's energy surrounding you. And these ones I never really know what they mean, but dealings or relationship with a man with dark complexion or hair. So if any of that resonates for you, I think the bigger thing here, I think some of that can be helpful. But I think this is about taking time to go on a spiritual journey and give to yourself and remember that it's healthy to develop new perspectives. And you're already doing that, whether or not it's healthy or not, you are moving towards new perspectives and working on that. An ever-present journey for Virgos, I think, is releasing the sense of perfectionism and just letting things ride and roll sometimes, which can be hard. And it's a good lesson, water lesson for Cancer season, which beckons in the water sign. So if I can get one Rumi card for Virgo. One Rumi card for Virgo. So the 6th sign. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Whirling Goddess is the Rumi card. And I usually, So Whirling Goddess is lose your head. Not a single thread that has a head can go through the eye of the needle. So this is about sort of releasing that sense of perfectionism, I think. Come, my love, are you dizzy yet? If you can still find your feet, then that is okay with me, but if you can still find your head, then I will take issue. There's a great dance, but it cannot be danced with choreographed steps. No, this great dance demands a response rather than an initiation, a reaction rather than a direction. So let us dissemble and lose our heads to the great music, the rhythm held steady in our beating hearts. Our feet shall be moving, whilst our minds, inadequate to the task, take the night off. So, some of these readings the Rumi cards can take a little bit more time to really go into, but you are the point of growth. You're at the point of growth where your mind can hold you back rather than urge you forward. So sometimes, it's just you are ready, you see, sweet soul dancer, ready to live beyond what you know, to have it not matter if you don't understand how life can work itself out, or how it could be that someone so normal and ordinary as you and I could also be magnificent, wild, and divine. The need for answers and plans, assurances and explanations is passing out of your world now. So this is just, I think, a general Virgo message about having new perspectives and how being perfect is not all the goal, and it's really rarely the goal, and we're perfect in our imperfections. So I think this is just move forward towards that consciousness, towards comfort, towards surrender. I think this message is just about surrender and how not everything has or should have a plan. And I wish you good luck on this journey, because I think it's an ever-present journey for Virgos. And I think that's it's a beautiful reminder during some Earth energy in the Taurus moon for Virgo. So thank you for joining me tonight, and hope you guys have a good one.